Are you wondering how you can stay confident? Maybe you've grown in confidence in something and then suddenly your confidence drops again. Well, I've certainly been in that situation many, many times. So we're going to talk about how you can stay confident today. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra special bonus point for you then. So stay around for that. Like I said, in my life, I've had like ups and downs. Like suddenly something's happened or I've done something, I've got a result, I feel good. It might be something in business, like I maybe got a couple of clients, or maybe it was I got my coaching business out there, or maybe it's something in my podcast, something with a sponsor or something like that. And my confidence has grown, or maybe it's something in my dating life. Maybe it's going really well with a girl I was seeing. And then suddenly maybe my confidence dropped when it wasn't so well. In sport, so many times as a teenager, right, I felt on top of things like playing football or soccer, if you're from the US. And then I'd be like, yes, I'm doing amazing. I feel fantastic. It's great. I'm a really good footballer, right? And then suddenly something goes wrong. It gets hard. And I'm like, I am not a good footballer, right? So it can be so up and down. Now, the question becomes, how do we stay confident? And that's what I'm going to talk about today, because, yeah, there's going to be situations that are going to impact your confidence. Like, there's no getting away from that. However, we can impact that massive drop and high by just some simple actions we can start implementing in our life. Of course, if things are going all wrong and maybe life's just testing you a little bit of an emotional workout, like I said, and maybe your dating life's not working, maybe there's something that's you get an injury in sport, maybe your business is just not doing very well, or your career's not doing very well. Of course, that's going to impact your confidence. Yeah, it can impact you a whole lot more if you don't stay on top of your training and how you work on yourself. So that's what we're going to talk about, right? And how is it that we actually get dragged back into bad behaviors when perhaps we're doing well, we worked hard? Well, that's a lot to do with our programming and how we were conditioned. And if we're not aware of that, we can get back into the bad habits because there's a part of your brain that's going, whoa, I'm doing a lot better than usual. I better calm down. This is unusual. So again, there's the awareness in that. And we base confidence on results. And we're just focusing everything on our results, then of course that's going to impact your confidence because you're always going to have different results. Now, I want you to ask yourself this. How is it helping you by just purely basing your confidence on your results or things from the outside world happening for you to feel good? Well, I lived there for many, many years, right? And there is going to be an impact always from the outside world on your confidence, the trust in yourself. Yet, it can be changed, and you can change that feeling if you start doing more internal work. And that's what we're going to go into now. So my first point I want to share with you, I've got 5, and then I've got the bonus one, of course, that you want to stay around with, 4 even. So the first one is get yourself a coach or mentor, or even if you need to, ideally hire someone, you get an accountability partner who's reliable, right? I'm actually going to bring my accountability partner on soon, and we're going to do an episode as well. I also have a coach. I've also had therapists. I've had mentors, all sorts, right? It's giving me huge growth in my life. And the investment into that was, the returns were priceless. So getting someone who's there for you, because they can keep you accountable. They can start looking when you're not able to see yourself getting caught back into bad patterns that maybe make you start getting into lazy habits, or perhaps you take your foot off the brake. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a break, by the way, right? We all need breaks. We all need to relax. It's not about working 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? Although there's some crazy people who work very close to that in this life. So fair play. But it's about making sure you're consistent. And sometimes we can fall off that consistency when things go well. And then we stop being consistent. We therefore won't get as many results with not being consistent. And a coach or mentor is going to help you become aware of that. The second one, focus on what you have. This is kind of what I was touching on earlier, but I want to say it as a clear point. Focus on what you have to do, not the outcome, right? So let's say you've got a habit every day to go to the gym, right? And eat healthy. And for an entire week, you go to the gym, and make it easy to start off with. Set yourself up to win. And that moves on to my next point in a minute. So you say 30 minutes a day, you're going to go to the gym. Maybe even 20 minutes, that's fine, right? Depends how far the gym is, I guess, whether it's just that gym. 20 minutes of exercise a day, let's say. You do that, and then you're following a certain diet. And don't make it don't make it too hard on yourself. And you do that. And then at the end of the week, you're like, well, I don't feel like I've lost that much weight. Well, that's the problem. We live in a world of instant gratification. And eating like a burger won't necessarily, or like a bad load of junk food one day won't necessarily show straight away. And that's half the problem, right? Delayed gratification is the way forward. So instead, start focusing on what you're doing. This will give you instant gratification. Having a chart and ticking off each day that you've done something and go, yes, celebrate, pat yourself on the back. As crazy as that sounds, it's more crazy not to do it, because if you don't reinforce good behavior for yourself, you're not going to do it, and therefore you're going to get bad results. So do something to give yourself gratification every time you've done something each day. The third thing I was touching on, I'm going to make it clear, is make it easy to be consistent, right? Like I said, if you're like, right, I need to exercise more, and you haven't been to the gym for 6 months, maybe you've done a bit of walking or the odd run here and there, and your diet's sort of a bit up and down. Well, planning to go to the gym for 1 to 2 hours a day is going to be very difficult to sustain. That's not going to happen. It might happen for a few days, and then you're like, oh, this is boring, this is too hard. So make it consistent and easy. And when you can do that, like I have to do that with sales calls as well, my sales role. Like sometimes it can be a bit mentally draining, because certainly at the start you get a lot of rejections, and going into new businesses and helping them, even like I've just done, like understanding the business, what you're selling and everything. You have to not overload yourself, because it's quite mentally draining, right? So I have to give myself consistent tasks that are going to allow me to move forward. And then as I start getting into the swing of that, I can up it. So don't go too hard at the start, because if you do, you're going to more likely give up, and therefore that's going to knock your confidence, and you're not going to be able to stay confident. So again, it's about focusing on what you can do, but make it consistent and easier for yourself. The fourth one, I kind of did a lot of overlap here, but the fourth one is celebrate the effort you're doing. Celebrate yourself every single day, right? Celebrate what you've done. Like pat yourself on the back, congratulate yourself. If you've done something for a whole week, give yourself a treat. Maybe you take yourself for a sport, depending on money, of course. Take yourself for a spa day. Maybe you go for a sports massage. Maybe you take yourself for a nice walk. Maybe give yourself a lazy Sunday, like sit in front of the TV. Obviously, don't give yourself like a load of junk food as a reward for working on a health plan. That's just stupid, right? That's just counterproductive, right? I'm not saying you can't have treats in moderation to work it, but don't just be like, oh, I'm going to have a whole junk day stuffing my face after work of load of health, right? That's not how it works. But find some way to celebrate and reward yourself. And then my fifth point is just reflect back when you have been really confident consistently in an area. Notice your pattern. What did you do? What were you doing that kept you feeling confident in that? Because often we've got success formulas within ourselves for confidence. We just forget about them, right? So I want you to think back about a time when you were really confident consistently in something as well. And for my bonus point today, visualize in advance. So what do I mean by this? The mind doesn't know the difference between fake and reality when you really, really work it in visualizing and really sensing and feeling things in advance. So therefore, if you've got a certain goal in mind, you want to be like really confident in an area, just keep visualizing it. And a really good thing to do with this is breath work, because when you do breath work with visualization, it's really, really super effective. Look up Wim Hof for breath work ideas as well on this. So if you can really, really visualize and feel yourself being confident in a certain area, your brain's going to start to, again, it's not about doing it one-off, it's about doing consistently, even if it's 5 minutes. Your brain's going to start thinking, oh, I'm confident in this, because then it'll start thinking reality, and therefore you're more likely to remain confident in that area. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you're in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.